Alright. Activate Khabib navigation.
Send me a message, like location.
Okay? Khabib navigation. Directions to home.
Tell me, where?
Directions to home.
Whatever you want, doesn't matter. Ireland, New York, Brooklyn, or Moscow.
I don't want to go to Russia. Directions to home.
It is what it is. Hey, just send me a message, where? I'm gonna come, just send me a message. This is number one bullshit.
Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the prediction show for UFC 254, Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Justin Gaethje. A massive card, really excited about it. Have 3 free plays that we're going to talk about on this card. Definitely going to break down the main event as well, so definitely take a look at that. Also, 3 plays up for purchase on Wager Talk right now, link down in the description. Coming off a 3-0 performance last weekend, including a 4% play on Jonathan Martinez, plus 125. Got the job done out there against Almeida. Also had Jessica Andrade, minus 140, and as well as Jillian Robertson at minus 220. So really great, clean sweep overall. Able to add to those bankrolls right now for clients. I am up 77% return on investment for clients and 68% winner overall on all of my plays. So really excited to keep moving forward. It's always great when we keep adding, but so many UFC events, so many times to place wagers and look for spots to make money. We did lose on Korean Zombie as our free play. Ortega looked fantastic. I mean, I gotta say, a guy that took time off to, I guess maybe kind of fine-tune some of the striking. He really looked great out there. A big jump in striking for him. He goes out there and beats the Korean Zombie. But we're definitely going to be talking about 3 plays on here, 2 in the main event. We're going to break down. I got a prop bet and as well as a free play on a side here, and one other fight that I will be talking about. But definitely right now, 3 plays up on Wager Talk. 5% play that I'm releasing, and also 2 plays with that. So I have a top play that I'm looking at right now. Take a look, link in the description if you're interested in that. If you're not, we are going to talk free plays on the show today. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get right into the main event of the evening between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje. I mean, this is a sensational fight. It's a fight that a lot of people really felt that, hey, this is the guy that could really give Khabib a lot of problems. We're going to dive into some of that, and as we always do here, break down the last 3 fights for each fighter, see what one fighter can expose the other, and if the line makes sense to place a wager. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the current champion. We're going to talk about Khabib Nurmagomedov. And 3 fights ago, let me give the line first. You've got right now, and actually the line ticked up a little bit here. You got Khabib at minus 325, and you've got roughly Gaethje is a plus 275, somewhere in that range. But now you got 3 fights ago, Khabib faced Al Iaquinta. Now this was a short notice fight. This was one of those fights. It was like the day before, and all these fallouts. We're not going to dive into all that stuff. But this was a fight here where you've got a wrestler, and some people thought this could be a problem for Khabib, being this is a wrestler, a guy who's got some power. Iaquinta definitely is a guy that, has some power, has some knockouts, but has the wrestling background as well. But in this fight, I mean, that first round, I mean, you saw what Khabib did. I mean, Khabib pretty much had him dead to rights early in that fight. And, I don't say that he took it easy on Al Iaquinta, being the fact that Al took this on a day's notice and all these other things, and he was on the bus where Conor was attacking the bus, and they ended up becoming some kind of, friendship in that aspect. Not saying that that's why he backed off on it, but I really felt like this was a fight where he had Al beat up and in great spots in the first round or 2. Maybe I'm looking into it too much, but that's the way I looked at it early. And then he went to just standing. And Khabib decided to say, hey, I'm going to go and I'm just going to stand and strike with him. Now, could he not take him down? Could he? That's up for debate. I really felt that it was really much, even his coaches were screaming, go for the takedown, and he wasn't doing it. He was really comfortable just looking to stand. He wanted to strike. Is he taking it as live training of some sort? I'm not really sure, but in retrospect, you really take a look. I mean, there were spots where he didn't even shoot. I mean, he didn't even look to shoot. in that I think it was the third and the fourth round where he just really wasn't looking to shoot. And even Al didn't land that many shots either. I mean, even shots where he kind of, grazed, Khabib a little bit, crowd went crazy because you're just not used to seeing him hurt. So, he doesn't lose rounds. It's obviously it's not, you're not used to seeing that guy get hurt. But this was pretty much a dominating performance overall. Short notice fight for Al Iaquinta, but he goes out there, gets a unanimous decision victory, a clean sweep overall. He won every round. So Khabib goes out there and gets the victory. 2 fights ago, he fought Conor McGregor. Now, this is one that a lot of people, there's heavy emotions in this one. A lot of people were, if you liked Conor, you hated Khabib, and if you hated Khabib, you liked Conor, and back and forth, and all these things. And, one thing is for sure for myself is that I never bet with emotion. It's really what I see. If I like a fighter, I'm going to take that fighter. And I'm not a kind of person that, hey, if the line ticks up very, very short, maybe it moved up from, minus 180 to minus 195, and now you're saying, oh, the value's gone, and this, if I like a fighter, and I've capped it, and I really believe this guy's going to go out there win, I'm betting that fighter to win. You don't cash tickets by just saying, hey, I beat the closing number. That doesn't cash tickets. Cashing tickets is winning. And sometimes you pay up a little bit to get that win, but at the end of the day, you want to get winners. And this is a position here where I think a lot of people got emotional in this one. People, a lot of people hated one guy, hated the other guy, liked one guy, and that kind of thing. And this is a situation where it was a clear path to victory here. I mean, you go into the situation where, Khabib's takedown ability and Conor's cardio and lack of takedown defense were pretty much a clear path here. And in this fight, this was a situation where, Khabib early, was able to get the takedown, wrestle him down, ground and pound him, maul him, tire him out. There really wasn't much that Conor had going on there. Even the spot where, Khabib faked the takedown, threw the hook, ended up, stumbling Conor. He kind of went at him, which is a big highlight moment in that fight. But pretty much overall, this was just a landslide victory. I know Conor just came out recently and said that, he was winning the fight, or, no way. There's no way that that's true. But he went out there and he said that, and I think he's trying to build a little bit of steam. The fact that Khabib is about to fight and he wants to maybe get back in the cage. Not really sure. I think it would be the same outcome regardless if Conor was to fight him again. But this was Khabib from beginning to end. Dominated and getting the finish in that 4th round. Overall gets the victory. Didn't have a problem really with, I think, the takedowns, smothering him, getting on top of him. It was really a performance that just shows how amazing Khabib is at what he does, where people know exactly what he's going to do, and nobody seems to be able to stop it. So he goes out there and gets a submission victory in that 4th round. And then most recently against Dustin Poirier. This was a fight here where I think a lot of people were really looking at it, and it was more the storyline was that that Dustin has the boxing. He's got the footwork to maybe kind of work from the outside a little bit. He's got the striking, he's got the power, he's a durable guy. And that really wasn't what was able to happen again. And really that striking part of it, which kind of goes into what's going to happen Saturday night with Gaethje, was that people say the striking could fend off some of this. The circling, the footwork, a lot of that could really fend off some of these takedown opportunities that Khabib is going to be looking for, whether it's in the center of the cage, whether it's up against the cage, whatever it may be. That was the situation, and this was a spot where really it looked like that Dustin came in with the good strategy. He wanted to have the distance, wanted to use his boxing, but you heard him even, I think it was the 2nd into the 3rd round, wherever it may be, where Dustin says, I can't get this guy off of me. And that is probably an overwhelming feeling when you're in a situation where you just can't use your best weapons. And that is what Khabib is really great at. And he's able to nullify all of your weapons by just smothering you, getting on top of you. I mean, Daniel Cormier talks about his strength. Obviously, it's one of his best friends, so he's not going to say he's a weak guy. Obviously, that he's, next level wrestling. But for DC to talk about how heavy he feels, how his strength, all these things, once a guy gets in there, it really almost drains their power, and they're unable to really start firing off those shots. They're worried about the takedowns. They can't even utilize their striking. This is what does happen to Dustin. Dustin was looking to box, could not get him off of him. Pretty much from beginning to end, into that 3rd round, ended up getting rear naked choke. Khabib gets the victory there. But again, I think this is a situation where you can look at it going into what Gaethje's looking for. Gaethje's looking to create, create chaos, and as soon as Khabib's looking to shoot, he's looking to fire. That is, I think, Obviously, I think that's a great strategy. Can it work? Dustin, I feel, tried to do a little bit some of that. Of course, he kind of backed up a little bit because he didn't want to get the takedowns, got up against the fence, taken down, ground and pounded, and submitted in that third round. So Khabib goes out there and gets that victory. On the other side, you've got Justin Gaethje. You got Gaethje plus 275 roughly. 3 fights ago, he fought Edson Barboza. This was a fight I was actually at in Philadelphia. Awesome fight. I was right there. I was basically cage side in that fight. And this was a spot here where, you've got 2 guys, great leg kicks, power shots, great kickboxing from Edson. And right away, they kind of traded a couple leg kicks. But the pressure is one thing, and we're going to touch on a little bit further. Pressure is one thing that Gaethje has. I mean, there is no doubt that Gaethje has that forward pressure. He's got the hands. He's got the power. He's able to really mix up those leg kicks to really kind of get you thinking, I don't want to take too many of those. And all of a sudden, he's throwing up heavy combinations up top. Really good the way that he mixes it up. And he's willing to take shots, to give shots. He's got the chin. This was a spot here where Barboza kind of didn't want to deal with it. Barboza kept fading back, kept kind of moving back. And that was where, Gaethje just kept moving forward. And that was a spot. He threw a big hook, absolutely dropped him, knocked him out clean in that first round. It was a victory for Gaethje in that spot. But it shows again that the pressure is overwhelming on his side. Khabib's got it, but also Gaethje has that pressure and that power to kind of back up that forward movement. And then 2 fights ago, he fought Donald Cerrone. This was a fight, I don't think this was too big of a fight overall, because I'm not big on Cerrone, kind of where he is in his career, and I know this was a little while ago, but not really too big on where he is in his career. But in this fight, I mean, Cerrone looked very timid. Didn't really look like, he was very cautious on a lot of his shots, while Gaethje was just pouring out offense, right out the gate, landed a bunch of leg kicks. It almost looked like, Cerrone was just completely out of rhythm. The way that Gaethje was mixing it up, very tough for him as a kickboxer. Cerrone's not looking to take this to the ground. He's looking to stand. And this was Gaethje from beginning to end. He goes out there, lands a big shot. He was timing perfectly as Cerrone's throwing the jab. He's throwing a big hook. And he really timed that perfectly, kept landing it early, going into later into that round, ends up dropping him, ended up putting him away, center of the cage, knocks out Donald Cerrone in that first round. So another first round victory for Justin Gaethje. And then and then most recently, he fought Tony Ferguson. This is a fight that I did bet Gaethje on here, and just because of Ferguson, not where he is anymore in his career, starting to age, injuries, a lot of these things, those things worked for him way in the past. It's just, can durability consistently stay with all the damage that he's taken, some of the wars, and again, the injuries that he had. But this was a great showing from Gaethje. But that first rounds, those first few rounds, let's say the first, second round, somewhere in there, Gaethje was looking for that bomb. He was so used to just putting guys out, last 2 fights, so easily, landed big shots, guys crumbling, and he was looking for that big shot in Ferguson. Ferguson was able to take some of it and look to counter, and he was doing it very well early. And really, I think his cornerman, I think it was first, second round, cornerman said to him, end of one of those rounds, said, you got to be patient. You got to be patient. Let it come to you. And as soon as he did that, his whole game plan changed. And he really went out there. He fought smart. He waited to counter. He looked for the opportunities to kind of open up his offense instead of just going out there guns blazing. Now, what can that do against Khabib? That's obviously something we're going to discuss as soon as I get past this, and we're going to dive into a little bit further. But in this spot, it was a perfect scenario for Ferguson. Just kind of working on the outside, picking him apart, getting the damage was really accumulating, and going into that into the 5th round, there was not much left. I mean, I think this fight probably could have been stopped earlier. Not much left. Gaethje goes out there, great performance from him, gets the TKO victory in that 5th round. Now, with it all being said, obviously the things that everybody knows, you've got, Khabib, he's got the elite top level wrestling. And the thing that also, too, is that the chain wrestling that he has. He's able to really just get a hold of you, and he's not really taken away by if you kind of fend off or kind of find a good positioning. He's going to latch onto you, and that's going to be home for him every fight. And and his increasingly ability to take you down. So not only is he just able to work you, but his increasing ability to really drain you with cardio. So not only that he's looking to take you down, but he's also looking to just drain your cardio. And even that's something that I think that he did with Conor early in the fight, was he wasn't looking to just, hey, I'm gonna work you. I'm willing to just kind of make you work, force you to work, knowing that this is a position you don't want to be in on the bottom of Khabib, and that right away will drain you. And that is what he's so good at. With that pressure, with pushing up against a cage, you're scrambling hard, he's able to keep you down there. That is something Khabib is obviously, again, everybody knows this, he's obviously one of the top when it comes to that. And the fact that you know what's coming. And I know I've said this a little bit already, but the fact that, there's a lot of people that hey, I could work around it this way. There is no, hey, he's going to stand and strike with you. You know exactly what he's going to do. Can you defeat it? You can't. It's been very difficult. So he's been able to have good cardio. He's definitely evolved some of his striking. He's definitely not up there as a top striker, but he consistently gets a little bit more comfortable. And there was a video going around on YouTube about, showed him, 10 fights ago, whatever, maybe, some of his striking where he's wildly jumping or, completely looked out of sorts completely. Now he looks confident. He looks very comfortable. And I think the camp that he comes from is really starting to hone in some of those skills, and that's going to make him even more deadlier going in against Gaethje. And then on the other side, you've got Gaethje here. The power leg kicks. That's a huge part. He's heavy-handed, and he also is a guy that has cardio. He's able to last. You've seen his durability is really, really amazing. The damage he can take and what he's willing to take in order to land a big shot back, and the pressure. Now, this is the part where I think, I guess the storyline is, Gaethje's defensive wrestling. Gaethje has his great defensive wrestling. Now, if you take a look at pretty much his UFC career, he hasn't fought wrestlers. He hasn't faced a wrestler. And now you're about to face the best wrestler in the sport. And that is something that's really concerning if you're looking at Justin Gaethje to place your money on. And, he's got the power, but, he's got the movement, he's got the good combinations, all these great things, durability. But again, nullifying that is the big part of this, is that if he just goes in there and Khabib goes in and just wrestles him, has he tested this defensive wrestling? I know he's got the background, and he comes from a wrestling background, and he just doesn't use it because, he's really fallen in love with his striking and he's knocking guys out. But if you look who he's fought, it's a boatload of strikers that he has not had to worry about the takedowns. Now, he can stand there toe-to-toe with anybody and brawl, and that is something that is very difficult for guys to face because they're hitting him, he ain't moving, and yet they're taking damage, and that's where Gaethje's strong suit is really that. And a lot of people are also talking about on the defensive wrestling side is that Khabib's really only good up against the cage. Obviously, that is a very big part. Khabib's able to kind of work leverage, get under you. But a lot of guys, I think that that's not something new. I just think he's able to, as he's walking you down, you're looking to kind of get out of the way and seek space to kind of work from the outside, knowing that Khabib does not have the striking. In these situations, he's good at that. He's good at cutting distance. He's good at forward pressure. He's good at cutting the cage off to kind of get you where he wants you. And if you're not there, he's going to seek to kind of manipulate your body movement to get you in the spots that he wants. So a guy like Gaethje, who does have the power, has never had to worry about the big level changing. And that, I think, is an enormous thing when you're talking about, can he knock Khabib out? I mean, obviously, anybody can win on any given night. Obviously, that's without being said. But if you're looking at just purely right now on who you think's going to win, I like Khabib here. I really do, and I've talked about it, I tweeted about it. I ended up betting him at minus 285 and at minus 290. I know that's, again, that's a little higher, but, if we're focusing on the main event and talking about it, I just don't see that much. I do like Gaethje. Gaethje is an animal, and it's just, I think he's facing a bigger animal in Khabib. And I also think that, yes, the leg kicks are going to be there, but I think that, and he snaps them off. Gaethje snaps them off pretty quickly. But I really think that these kind of movements, it's not like he does many body kicks. He loves to do leg kicks, but he's going to time some of these, and I think that he's going to be able to get a hold of them and seek to take him down. Now, it's not the easiest thing to take down a guy when he's doing a calf kick or a leg kick, those kind of things, But I think this is something that is going to open up him to be off balance when Khabib is looking to shoot. And I think that's going to be an extraordinary part of this offense. If he's not able to get it against the cage, that's where Khabib is going to have success. And I think early that first round, he may kind of feel out the movement for Gaethje, what's going on, and then start chipping away on the scorecard. So I will be taking Khabib Nurmagomedov to defeat Justin Gaethje. I bet it at minus 185. Right now it is up, minus 320. It is up there. When it starts to get those prices, it does feel like more of a parlay piece, those kind of things that you want to add to. But I definitely already have taken Khabib Nurmagomedov as a free play. And again, remember, these are plays. My client plays, I'm betting 85, 80% of my allotted amount of money per event on, and then I'm doing these plays, 20, 15%. On these plays, value plays, parlays, those kind of things. I always want to make sure people understand that. But the fact that I like Khabib here to get this victory, but I'm looking at the methods of victory here, and that's going to be the other part of this, is a prop that I'm putting in here. So, you got the knockout is plus 380. I think that's interesting there for him to get, and then the submission, I think was plus 250, 260, somewhere in there. But I think this is a spot where Gaethje is very durable. And if he has any slight defensive takedown ability, where he's not going to be standing the whole time, he's going to be getting taken down, and I think he's going to be able to kind of squirm and get out of positions. And I think that Khabib will be chipping away on the scorecards. I think positioning is going to be important. I think he's going to be on top of him. I think he's going to be able to, it's going to ride out some clock. He's going to seek to get submissions, ground and pound him a little bit. And I think once he gets Gaethje down, Gaethje, I think, could fend for himself a little bit there and last and not get finished. So I think here, as a prop that I'll be putting on here, is Khabib to win via decision, plus 240. I think that's a good price there. I think any of those methods of victory are actually pretty good price. I think they're all pretty good price. So if you think there's going to be a knockout, I think those are all pretty good price, but I think the decision is a play. I think that Gaethje's going to be able to kind of fend for himself, that first round kind of getting through it, and then Khabib working through and getting points by positioning on the ground. So those are my two plays that I will have on the main event. Khabib straight at minus 290, and then also Khabib via decision plus 240. Now, the other one I'll quickly go over. Now, I've talked about this one on the show before a couple different times. Keeps getting canceled. Is Magomed Ankalaev versus Ion Cutelaba. This was a fight here that I've talked about 2 times on the show, I think, already. And I'm going to talk about it quickly because it's one that I do like and it's one that I want to talk about. I do love this play here, so we're going to get into it. Now, you've got Ankalaev is roughly around a minus 290. And you've got Cutelaba is plus 225. So we're going to, I guess I'll kind of quickly go through each of them again, the past 3 fights, and or maybe not even. Maybe we'll kind of run through a little bit quicker. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go through a couple of them here. And one of them that I want to talk about is Dalcha Lungiambula. Versus Ankalaev. And I think this is an interesting fight. I think because a lot of people put a lot on this particular fight when you're talking about Ankalaev and why you like him to win the fight Saturday night. And, Dalcha has got a lot of hype. He's a chiseled monster. He's got power. He looks the part. But, he's the kind of guy that, to be honest, his striking is very simple. He looks to land the big shot. And he even, ended up, landed a nice shot on Ankalaev earlier in the fight. But it just, to me, it's a big stamp because it was a beautiful knockout by Ankalaev. It was a front kick, dropped him, ended the fight, got on top of him, ended the fight. Really a great highlight reel. But who he beat, I'm not that too high on overall. So I think that takes a little bit away. And I think that really upped his price when what the market is kind of looking at right now. And then there's say you've got Cutelaba. He faced Glover, and even there, the first round was pretty crazy. It almost looked as if Cutelaba was going to finish Glover, and then ended up getting the takedown, got on top of him, ended up getting a submission loss in the second round. But that first round, almost Cutelaba had him. Cutelaba was landing some big shots. He doesn't need much. He lands one, he could put your lights out. And I thought he looked fantastic there. And then even the fight against Khalil Roundtree, I mean, he went out there and, I mean, he grappled with Roundtree. He was throwing him down. You know, he really just beat him up. Overall, gets that victory. I thought he looked great in that spot. Not saying Roundtree's some world beater, but I thought he looked good in that spot. And then you've got, most recently was when they fought each other. And now I think another part of this storyline goes to where people keep kind of saying, and you can go back and watch for yourself, that, yes, it was a bad stoppage, or it was kind of stupid of Cutelaba to fake being hurt because he just wanted to look for the big shot, hoping that he can just counter. Ankalaev is more of a counter striker. So, he was kind of allowing, hey, come forward, come fire, and then I'm going to land the big shot. Kind of dumb of him. I think that in itself lowered, spread the odds on his fight IQ, because they're saying, hey, that was a kind of a stupid move. Why are you faking like you're hurt? And, just a weird situation. So I think that kind of spread it out. But nothing really happened. I mean, in that fight, nothing really happened. There was nobody getting picked apart from the outside. No big shots. Even the announcer, I think it was Michael Bisping, was the announcer there. And even he said, none of these shots are landing. And they stopped it. He still was kind of, swaying back and forth, but blocking a lot of the shots. None of them really looked like they were landing, and then the fight was called. So kind of a weird situation there. But for me here in this spot, I mean, I'm not that, I think Ankalaev is a good fighter. I think he's got good counter-strike ability. I think he's a well-rounded kind of guy. But I don't think I've seen enough from him. I don't think I've really seen enough from him. I mean, even when we fought Glitzen Abaru, and, Glitzen is a BJJ guy. A guy with no striking ability, not really that good, not well-rounded, and he was early landing shots on Ankalaev. And to me, that says a lot about a guy who really doesn't have striking. And again, Cutelaba is more of a bruiser, a brawler. He's just looking to get in close. He's not technical. You got Ankalaev, who is a technical striker. But here, I think, at the price here, I think these guys are just going to go and bang. I think they're going to fire. And I like Cutelaba here as a value play. I think this is a spot to sprinkle something on him. Plus 225. You've got the knockout is plus 340. I think either one of those plays are solid plays for value. I just don't think that Ankalaev is as high as people are really putting him. If he goes out there and beats him, sure, I can see that being a possibility, but value-wise overall, I like Cutelaba here. I think he lands a big shot. I think he has a chance to get the knockout. They're talking about the fact of the cardio. They're talking about all these other things. You've got a guy like Glover is the reason why he was drained, is because Glover was working him on top, tiring him out, working the ground and pound, and able to really get on top of him and get good positioning. Glover's great on the ground. I think those things you will not see with Ankalaev. So as another free play, I will be taking Cutelaba at plus 225. So those are my 3 free plays for UFC 254. Really excited about this card. Again, take a look. Link down in the description. 3 plays up on Wager Talk. One is a 5% play. Link down in the description. Hopefully we're going to be cashing in again. It's been a fantastic year. Making a boatload of money here, and it's always great, and I always appreciate everybody who is, direct messaging me or writing on Twitter or, wherever, maybe even on YouTube, saying, hey, we cashed, we did this, or even bets that, I haven't even, given. Love hearing people winning. Again, we are all on the same team here. We're all here looking to beat the bookies and make money long term. That is the key. It's not just making money tonight, not making money tomorrow. It's making money year after year after year. That's how you make profit. Bankroll management is key, and do not chase. All right, so with that being said, definitely enjoy the fights Saturday night. YouTube at Kyle Anthony UFC. I will definitely be tweeting during it. It's an earlier card, so for the East Coast, it'll be 10:30 in the morning. Main card will be about 2 o'clock. So really excited. Gonna have a party, and it should be a great time. So definitely subscribe, like, head kick the bell icon, get involved. And this is Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show, and I'll see you next time.